Ira and Corey. It is Jeff and Corey only. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Good. Are you prepared to do the register sausage bit?
No, do I have to?
Yeah, you're in Ira's chair.
You're right. I don't like this view. I have to look through two computers now. This thing's blocking me completely.
You're all right. I can see you.
You can see me.
And they can see you. So
good.
You're good.
Perfect.
So here you go. I'll give you the
registersmeats.com.
You already jumped the gun.
Okay, sorry.
I'm going to give you the obligatory yay sausage.
Sorry. Yeah, registersmeat.com. I had some yesterday. Steph made an egg bowl. Like a scrambled egg bowl, threw some registers in there, a little andouille or andouille.
Andouille, one.
Shanna, my ex-wife, corrected me on how I pronounced it the last time. But yeah, and it's great. I don't even know that meat manager. You guys know that by now. But get some in your life. I'm tired of y'all going through your lives without registered sausage. Jeff, can you echo that sentiment?
I don't think about it much.
Oh, okay. Because it's in your life. You don't care if it's in other people's lives.
You know, they pay on time. The sausage is good. I don't know.
That's all you need.
How many times have we told everybody about getting the sausage in their life in order?
Right.
You got to get it in order.
Yeah.
So
none of that Jimmy Dean nonsense. You don't want a patty. Who wants a sausage patty?
Does registers do patties?
I hope not. That's like something out of 1987. So, yeah, get your registersmeat.com. Go to Publix. It's there. It's in other places, too, but do what you got to do.
Ira is at Amelia Island where the spring meetings are underway. And I don't know, do we expect any big news to come out of that?
I don't know. They did announce I don't know if they announced it, but Brett McMurphy announced earlier today, as we see in the chat, that the Florida State-Alabama game is set for 3:30 p.m.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
Oh, great, man. I love the 3:30.
That's
There's
perfect.
nothing better than the
great
3:30,
time.
buddy.
Yeah.
No, except for it's going to be 105 degrees.
That's good for Florida State, right? It doesn't get hot in Alabama. They're not going to be
they're not used to it.
They're not going to be used to that Tallahassee humidity from Tuscaloosa.
So 3:30. Hey, listen, I saw where your cohort on Wake Up Warchant, Aslan, posted on the boards. I don't know when it was. I just saw it this morning, so maybe it was this morning, maybe it was last night. That doesn't that all but lock it up for College Game Day?
I mean, you would think. There's also LSU Clemson that ESPN has. I think the reasoning was that Fox is taking the Ohio State-Texas game. So Big Noon will be there.
Well, I know the reasoning. Yeah,
But Game Day could still theoretically go there. Like they did it 2 years ago. They were both at a Colorado game. That 4-8 Colorado season that we remember so fondly.
It was a big one.
So they could still go to the Texas-Ohio State game. But you still got LSU and Clemson to compete with.
I don't know why I thought the only other competition that weekend was Notre Dame-Miami.
I think it's LSU. I think LSU Clemson is that same weekend, that same day. So that could be where they go. It would be cool. I mean, if you're going to honor Corso. This is 70 years ago. He was at this school scoring touchdowns. Let him come back home for his final show.
It's weird because this fan base, obviously and understandably, loathes ESPN.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, no matter how much we loathe ESPN, moving forward, you're going to want as much coverage as possible. You're going to want to matter. You're going to want to be in games that could be considered game day worthy for what that is. And this is one of those, and it would make sense, but it also just adds to the pressure cooker that is this upcoming season. Not that it wasn't going to already be huge. Not that you're going to be sitting there worried about game day being here. It's just that when you think of all of the chips to the middle of the table with this season, for Mike, for the university, for athletics, for the fans, for the stadium reconstruction, all of it, you're just like, man, that game is going to be big. They got to show up and play well.
That'd be nice.
They don't have to win.
It'd be nice.
It'd be great to win. And obviously I hate losing, so I won't walk out of the stadium if they lose going, woohoo, looking better. But you got to play well for it not to be a calamitous, here we go again, through line.
I think it's also interesting with the game day angle because nobody's been more vocal about their disdain for what Kirk Herbstreit turned into during that month, and kind of what he's turned into just on social media in general. But the one thing we've all said for years now is how much we admire his admiration for Corso.
And how kind he's been to him.
Very kind.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he's been the reason that Corso's still getting a paycheck from ESPN, quite honestly. I think that's probably true. So if he ever was going to mend a fence with a fan base, not that I don't know if that fence can ever be mended, but I also don't think the vitriol would be nearly as, loud if he's there honoring Lee Corso. Like that's a good way to kind of ingratiate yourself back to the fan base a little bit. And also I'll say this, as much as I hate what happened and it still angers me, I get madder. I seemingly get madder the more I think about the snub than the distance from it. But like Florida State's got its own issues now. Like Kirk Herbstreit isn't enemy number one anymore. The football program is. Like when you go 2-10, the snub disappears. And so, maybe it's time for him to be back here. I mean, I'm not that anybody really cares about Florida State's relationship with Kirk Herbstreit, but it's been awful for a year and a half. And if he's here with Corso, maybe that can help bend some fences. And it'd be nice if they won the game.
It'd be huge if they won the game. The reason it has a chance to work is that even the most vitriolic, angry, grudge-holding Florida State fan towards Herbstreit most of them would, I think, at least be willing to admit that seems to be authentic.
Yeah.
His relationship with Lee Corso, his love for Lee Corso. A lot of things that Herbstreit said in the aftermath of the snub were disingenuous. They were intellectually dishonest. They were outright lies in some cases. But nobody would argue that his affection for Corso is real. I mean, that's been in place forever and a day. And we all noticed it, especially as Lee started to decline after the stroke. And I always appreciated it. I think Noles everywhere, I think good people everywhere just appreciated it, that he did that. So you would be coming from a place where there is solidarity. It's a beloved figure in Florida State sports. That seems to be a legitimate love and relationship that they have. And if we bonded over that, you could, for a day,
for a day,
you could come together and be
Florida State beats Alabama. All's forgiven, Kirk. All's forgiven.
I don't know that'll ever happen, right? And he's not singularly to blame for that situation. He certainly was the face of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's gonna hang around for as long as Florida State's not back to where they need to be. I don't know. I know it's middle of May.
Yeah.
But I think about that game. I think about this upcoming season. I think about all of the things that are connected, including game day, the matchup, the time of the year. I mean, everything that's going to be going on in the minds of Florida State fans as we enter that stadium. It's normally, like, when you think back to Florida State's opener against LSU a few years ago, and then the matchup against LSU the following year as well, you're kind of like, all right, that's an eagerly anticipated for the right reasons, a nervous energy. How good are we? Are we about to take another big step forward? Are we launching ourselves back into the upper echelon of college football? Isn't this going to be great? I'm going with friends and family. We're covering it, all staying at a house somewhere doing what. This is different than that. This is the nervous sort of, okay, now.
Yeah.
Don't embarrass us.
Right.
Don't be out here looking like a fool.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I hate that that's sort of the energy around that game.
I think the 2022 LSU game could have been like that if we thought LSU was going to be any good at all. But we didn't. They were unranked too, I think.
I think we thought they'd be okay, just like us.
And the fact that Florida State, even though they lost that game in Gainesville in 21, played so much better at the end of the season, especially with Travis at quarterback, you felt decent about your season. But I don't think anybody was sitting here thinking they'd win 10 games in 22. And I definitely don't think we all thought they'd be 13-0 in 23. I thought they'd have a chance to have a really good season, but 13-0 seemed like a big – because in May, we're like, well, that road game at Clemson is going to be tough. They're going to beat Clemson at Clemson. They never do. We didn't know Clemson was going to be kind of a average Clemson team. So right now, it's like, yeah, man, that Alabama game is very, very important. I still push back. I think the Clemson game is bigger for a variety of reasons if you have a good team. If your team is good, then that winning at Clemson would be enormous because that gets you into the championship game. But if your team's just going to be an 8-4 team, but one of the 8 is in front of everyone on national TV in August against Alabama, that's a really, really big deal.
Yeah, and I think that a win over Alabama is a launching point for things that could really surprise us all, which would be subsequent wins over Miami or a Florida.
Right.
Or
but
a
I'm saying if you had to choose right now, you're going to go 1-1 against Alabama and Clemson.
I'm taking the win over Alabama. I get your argument completely. I just think because it's not in a vacuum. They did go 2-10 last year.
Yes.
They are reeling. This is a fan base unsure of what their program is.
I think that's the real point, man. I don't know that the program is reeling because it's a brand new team. The fan base is absolutely reeling. You're talking about
kick to the balls
since that game, since the Louisville game in the rain in Charlotte. It's been nothing but heartache. It's been a punch to the mouth every week.
Over and over.
Not only
again.
did you get embarrassed at the Orange Bowl, and then you follow that up with a 2-10 campaign. You know what I mean? You fire coaches, and so like that's where I think this team you do flush it, man. A new team is a new team. I don't know. There's a lot of carryover clearly there wasn't any carryover from 23 to 24. So there might not be a lot of carryover from 24 to 25 with the team. The fan base though is reeling. This is a team that went 13-0 and then you go 2-10. You're still in this conference. You don't know when you're getting out.
But you do have some clarity as to you will not remain in this conference.
True, and you do get more money because you bring in money, so that helps. That was the first bit of good news. But yeah, man, this fan base, more than these players almost, this fan base needs to be reminded it's still Florida State. And that would be nice. That's why a win would be or even a close game would be really, really helpful. But win the game. It's Florida State. I hope we don't get caught in the trap that we did in 21 where they took Notre Dame to overtime. And we're like, oh my gosh, he's bad. He's done it.
Right.
And then they would lose the next 3 after that. Alabama is beatable. They're not they're
not the juggernaut they were.
So you can win the game. So I don't want to be moral. There shouldn't be any moral wins when you're at Florida State, not in year 6. Right? That's not in year 6. A moral win is in the money you're spending.
Well, this is why he's in the crosshairs. This is why it's of vital importance to him. And James B., I saw you in the chat say, no, we won't know anything about the team. I'm talking about the perception of the program.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the national perception of this program, the way they're viewed, whether or not they matter to be talked about, to be viewed in any way as a program of viability. It doesn't mean if you beat Alabama, you're going to go on to win 11 games. It doesn't mean that if you lose to Alabama, you're going to go on to lose 8 games or something like that. It doesn't. But on the heels of 2-10, to beat Alabama, to extricate yourself from that filth is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Watch how quickly the narrative around Florida State, which affects recruiting, changes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are layers to this and repercussions for going 2-10 and for being viewed in the manner that we're viewed currently. 12-0 regular season, 13-1, however you want to phrase that, what that was 2 years ago, ACC championship season, feels miles and miles in the distance.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like recent history because of what 2-10 was.
Yeah.
It just cast a pall over the entire program.
Yeah, it's crazy.
On Mike's future, what people think. Think about what people believed Mike was at the end of that season when they win the ACC championship and get snubbed. They all thought he was one of the preeminent coaches in the country. Everybody did, including Alabama on the short list of coaches. He was interviewed. You can think he wasn't a candidate all you want. He was interviewed.
Yeah. And
he was on the short list of people that would be interviewed for meaningful jobs in the Power 2. And certainly, I mean, nobody thinks that about Mike right now. Nobody.
You don't think if LSU fires Brian Kelly, they're coming to Mike Norvell?
Nobody thinks that right now. So there's a lot of rebuilding, both trust within the fan base, belief within the program, and then obviously the perception of what this place is right now.
But the point I made on Warchant, Wake Up Warchant, listen to it every other day in the off season, and then obviously every day during the regular season. Mike Norvell won the Bear Bryant Award, right, for the best coach in the country in 2023.
A couple years ago,
yeah. And then last year, you can make an argument, a legitimate one, a very good one, that he was the worst coach in the country. If they had an award, I don't know what you'd call it, but if you had I don't know what would you call the
well, in the NFL, I'd call it the Rich Kotite Award, but I
don't know who Turner Gill, like he was horrible when he got his chance.
But he was well thought of.
He was at Buffalo. Yeah. He was great. He was legitimately maybe the worst coach in the country last year.
Wouldn't that be something?
If they had an award? Well, like they have for the Oscars with the Razzies.
But imagine if it was an actual person.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine it was Turner Gill. Yeah. And every year, wherever Turner Gill is.
Yeah, you did it, coach.
Hey, the award for the sorriest ass in this profession, named after you, is going to be named today. Yeah, that would be tough.
And, you see him in the parking lot. Well, you're probably putting your stuff in your car because you've already been fired if you've won the Turner Gill. There's got to be a better one than Turner Gill. I'll come up with a better one than that. He just didn't do it long enough.
No.
But he went from the, theoretically the best coach in the country to the worst coach in the country in 1 year. That's not great. But also, he did win the award for the best coach in the country. So at least it's in there. This is not a Turner Gill situation where you're not sure he can do it at this level. He has done it at this level. He has. So that should at least give you hope. It doesn't mean it's concrete it shouldn't even give you confidence that it's going to turn around, but you do have a head coach that has at least done it before.
We have a great frame of reference between the two of us in terms of the history of the game and this program and really sports in general. Corey, I'll give us that kind of a compliment.
Great.
Here's why I'll do it.
Okay.
Can you think of anybody that capable and also using that phrase, that capable, the wrong way? Can you think of anybody like in the sports world that either as a player or a coach did that? Can you think of this guy, John Starks went, 2 for 26 in the finals game, but he was also a catalyst for why they were there. So that's an individual who had a bad day in a very important stage.
Yeah, a bad year.
But a bad year. Think about that.
Yeah, and it's weirder for a coach. I brought it up again on Wake Up about, I remember Bryce Harper had a bad year after he won the NL MVP. He hit for his standards,
but 250 or something like that.
Just not even close to what he'd been, and not what he's close to been since. He had that 1 year in the middle where he just wasn't very good. So maybe that happens with a coach too. It seems odd, but I also think the good news is guys that coached in the 90s and 2000s this wasn't the sport. The sport is completely different now. So there is, as we've talked about, there are going to be more ebbs and more flows because of the flipping portal and your roster. Your roster changes. So we know he can put together a good roster. We also know he can put together a horrible roster, and now it's like Russian roulette. Which one are we getting? Is there going to be a bullet in the chamber or not? Because that's I use that analogy a little.
So the season's The Deer Hunter?
Basically.
Is this what we're doing?
Let's go watch The Deer Hunter. It's a 55-year-old movie. It's a really good movie. It's fun.
Academy Award winner.
And it's fun too. It's more of a a dark comedy.
You'll be chuckling away.
You're at a wedding for essentially an hour, and then you're in Vietnam and as a POW. So you don't know what you're going to get this year, which kind of makes it exciting.
Oh, it's exciting. I'm sure Russian roulette is exciting.
Your blood.
It's nothing if not exciting.
Yeah, your heartbeat. It gets your heart racing a little bit.
It gets you going right there, boys. No. I can't think about the season without getting nervous. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Roofing and construction services. T-Spot Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spot Enterprises. Roofing and construction services. T-Spot Construction.com.
CCC 133-1204.
Porterman, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porterman, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porterman, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
Searching for the best place to spend time outdoors this spring and summer? The Golf Club at Summerbrook has all the amenities you and your family need. Purchase a family pool membership this season and enjoy the most luxurious and relaxing resort-style pool in the entire city with a 6,000 square foot deck, covered pavilion, and poolside drink and food service. You'll feel like you're on vacation. Reserve your pool membership today. Visit the Golf Club at Summerbrook.com or call 850-894-GOLF. That's 894-GOLF.
Ready to spice things up, Tallahassee? Slide into the all-new Tallulah Love Shop, your one-stop pleasure palace. From sensual toys and steamy couples kits to luscious aphrodisiacs and pheromone perfumes that whisper, yes. And oh, don't forget the THC slushies, flower, 7-0 kratom, and sweet edible treats that hit just right. Grab your partner or come solo and see the all-new Tallulah Love Shop at 1530 Mahan Drive. More love, more fun, always at Tallulah.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Sans Ira, who is in Ponte Vedra, I guess you could say, right over there.
Well, Amelia Island.
Amelia
right?
Island. It's right. It's a
He
wonderful
should at
place.
least call in and give us a breakdown of what's going on over there today.
I don't feel like anything's going to happen today.
Oh, all right. But still go to warchant.com and stay connected
That's
to
not
any
what I'm
breaking
saying.
news.
I mean, he'll have the news of the day, but the biggest story of the off-season occurred, which is Florida State won.
Yep.
And
well,
now, yes, they won
a decision. They went to the judge. It wasn't a knockout.
Right. It wasn't a complete knockout, but they got what they wanted. A lot more money and an exit.
Yes.
Now, not as quickly as they'd like to leave, but they got what they wanted, and there's a foreseeable exit.
Yeah.
And in the interim, you just can't suck every year. You got to be decent.
Yeah, well, they haven't sucked every year, so that helps.
I'm saying moving forward now. Now you got to put your best foot forward, put yourself in a position to be fought over. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's a big season.
I don't know what would come out of there, and I'm not saying that nothing's going to come out of there. I'm just kind of curious what would come out of there that the other programs in the conference, not named Clemson, are mad.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I would think they're livid. They got to give up more of their money to us.
You know, somebody in the chat, I don't know if it's true because I couldn't find it on Twitter, but the number one player in the country just committed to Miami, the offensive tackle. I think that's what somebody just said in the chat, which I thought he was a Georgia kid too, which is interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're all in. Miami is, and you know, if you listen to this show long enough, and we've been doing it now for coming up on 15 years. We're about to have our 15-year anniversary of this show, Jeff.
Jackson Cantwell is the player you're talking about. Yeah, 15 years and it's flown past.
Yeah, really
it has flown past.
But what I was going to say is back then I used to always say, and it was 100% true, folks. This is not revisionist history. Miami was never going to be able to be Miami again because of the arms race, the fact that they didn't have a fan base that showed up to the games, and those kids in that state were being recruited by all the big schools in the country that had more to offer than the University of Miami did in like 2014. Well, now they can't go get a roster because you can just pay. You can legally pay for a roster, at least for the time being. And so, yeah, but it makes sense for them. They haven't accomplished anything. They haven't won an ACC championship. They've been to one conference championship game.
They played in one game.
And they've been here for
and they haven't done anything.
22 years? Just 22 years of suck. 22 years of suck is crazy. So you understand why they're desperate.
Well,
I don't know what you have to pay for a senior high school offensive tackle who's the number one player in the country, not just the number one tackle. I think he's ranked the number one overall player in the country. What you'd pay for, is he going to start as a freshman? Like,
Probably not.
What's the going rate for that right there?
I don't know, but one thing I would say is we can marry these two and follow up on something we were talking about last week because I saw it on the message board. Somebody sent it to me that somebody was upset that we were talking about how you don't go out and spend huge dollars for a free agent quarterback is what we should label them as now. Yeah. If your roster isn't built out. And what I meant by that, I think I said that during headlines last week.
I was my 40 minutes that I wasn't on air
because you agreed.
I don't even remember that conversation because somebody was the way the conversation was framed on the message board post was, why would you say that Florida State shouldn't spend the same type of money as Miami? And I was like,
didn't say it that way.
Yeah, and I don't even remember that conversation. So it might have been the two segments I wasn't a part of.
What I was saying is that I'm not going to overpay for, say, a running back. Like if you equate it to the NFL draft. If my offensive line is ass, why would I draft a running back?
Right.
I need to fix my offensive line situation.
Well, it's like not a great analogy because he's awesome, but the Giants let Barkley go because they couldn't block for him anyway.
Right. They couldn't block for him, and they didn't have a lot going. They still kind of screwed that up. He would have given him a discount. That's a whole different thing. That's incompetence on top of the need situation. But anyhow, my point was that Florida State wasn't going to go out and outspend Miami for Carson Beck.
Right.
Because they're not close. Where Miami feels like they were knocking on the door. They were that close. Now, they won 9 games.
Oh, see, I don't agree with that.
Okay, so that's fine. Let's talk about it for a second, because here's what I was going to say. Yes, I know your argument's going to be, well, you need a quarterback. You have to have a quarterback. You can't win without a quarterback. And part of my discussion with this was that, Carson Beck has been really good and really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving him $5 million.
No, for sure.
Given what we are right now and all of the other needs that Florida State has.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my logic there was I'm not overpaying for that quarterback, first of all. Secondly, with all that Florida State needed on the offensive line, with all that Florida State needed on the defensive line, linebacker, all the other positions, wide receiver, you couldn't afford to just say, well, I'm going to give $5 million to Carson Beck.
No, I'm not arguing with that at all. I think the fact that you would say Miami thinks they're close,
well,
and Florida State's not close. Well, that everybody's close every year if you spend the money.
No, but
they lost. The reason they won 9 games last year is now with the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, and they didn't. Here's the point: they didn't finish the deal, and they have spent more money on their head coach, and he's one of their own. They have said, "This is it. We're all in. We went and got this guy. He's one of us."
Yeah,
and they've won nothing.
Yeah, okay? Nothing of significance.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So they didn't even make the championship game, and they felt like. Now, obviously, their defense is what cost them. If they could have got a stop against Syracuse in the second half,
Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah, then they win, right? Then they're going. But they didn't, and they didn't make it. But I think they feel like they're still loaded, and they're a player away at the most important position. Whereas I don't think Florida State feels like they were a player away.
They weren't a player away because they had the best player in the country, and they still didn't get there. Like if they had Carson Beck last year, they're 7-5. Like Cam Ward legitimately won them a couple games that Carson Beck has no way of winning them.
Well, so the good version of Carson Beck.
When I say close, they're closer than this. I'm just saying every year it resets. There's no reason Miami in the ACC should be closer because they resets.
They ought not be.
But that's what
you saw Florida State's roster.
100%.
It was a mess.
But you've pushed out some of that and you brought in better, and that's the reality of the sport where you can do that now every year. You're not going to be as close as Ohio State, but in your own conference, there's nobody that should feel they're closer than you coming out of a season, going on an off season than you, because you have the same resources. Well, theoretically, you have the same resources with the ability to go put together a good roster, just like Miami does. Nothing's stopping you, other than financial reasons. Nothing's stopping you from going and loading up your roster like anybody does.
Yeah,
that's all.
Except for that they had spent a ton of money in the back. They were ahead of the game. They were ahead of the curve. Everybody's caught up now.
Yeah.
And some have more.
You talking about Florida State?
Yes.
Yeah.
Florida State was way ahead of the curve. And all that investment got them a year ago where they brought all of those players in.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
They won 2 games.
Yeah.
I don't think the same people that were being hit up for millions of dollars were like, yeah, I can't wait to write that check, Mike.
Right. Well, right. 100%.
It wasn't going to happen. Whereas Miami feels they're on the precipice.
But
they're
I would say,
close.
I guess I would say, I just, the way this sport is now, you're always one good offseason away from being right in contention. You know what I mean? You are. You just are. Especially in the ACC, you are.
Well, yes, in winning this league.
Well, if you get in the league, you get a chance. Like Arizona State wasn't all that talented last year. They were a DPI away from beating Texas. Like just get in the tournament and give yourself a chance. Odds are you're not going to win a national championship, but odds are no, Georgia's not winning one. It's just really hard to win a national championship now. They can be close to being relevant because it's just one off season away. You're always one off season away.
Relevant right now.
Yeah.
I mean that we agree on that.
I think they made the right strides to be close to relevance this year.
The point would be that if you are, that reopens the possibility of spending at that position and going out and paying big money for a quarterback, because now you're in position. You feel like you're riding a wave of momentum and success as opposed to 2-10.
Did you look up? Did they get that tackle? Did you see it?
No, I have not. I'm trying to do this.
So if they, let's just say if they did get him, like, good luck, man. I don't know what you have to spend for the number one player in the country that's an offense. It's not like he's Travis Hunter. He's not going to immediately impact your program.
But
probably.
I would say that the elite linemen are pretty much not found in the portal.
Correct.
They're found
but
in high school recruiting.
You could go get him next year. If he proves to be a freshman All-American, all of a sudden maybe Ohio State wants him. Or Georgia, he wants to go back to Georgia. You know what I mean? Like getting him as a those are the moments where I'm like, absolutely don't overspend for a great offensive tackle in year one, because he's not going to be great next year. He'll be great in 2 or 3 years, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. The model of Georgia and Ohio State and others has been to go ahead and get them on your campus. They're not leaving.
Well, and also the one thing Miami has going for it right now, let's see if Cristobal's still there when this guy's ready to blossom. Cristobal can coach offensive linemen, and he's good at it. And
he's still got a good offensive line.
And
coach.
He's got a good, yes. So that is an appeal other than just the money. So yeah. Anyway. Try to block James Williams, big dog. Good luck.
Let me just say that's also part of it. You've got to do better. Cristobal does do better in high school recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what will enable you to do that is to have a successful season this year. Like, they were not going to be good in high school recruiting this year. Now, I'm not going to continue to give Mike a pass in perpetuity.
Well, he's the reason they weren't. They go in 2-10. It's hard to be a good high school recruiter.
But he struggled when they went.
I know.
So that's the part of it. Now you got to put together some winning seasons so that you're once again viable for those recruits as well. And to even be in the running, that kid wasn't looking at Florida State.
No,
he wasn't. And then what are you going to do? Give him $6 million so that you can
That's what I'm saying. What's the point? Like, I don't know. I couldn't even. What would you even think the going rate is for that kid? Because he's
a couple $1 million,
but he's not a quarterback, and he's not an immediate impact player.
I mean,
so
I don't scour the huddle tapes to see, is this guy ready made? Like, maybe
how many in our lifetime have been incredible freshman offensive linemen in our lifetime? Is like Andre Smith at Alabama has been like 5 of them.
But maybe by year
he's
2,
one. Well, no, I know, but year 2 he might be in Tuscaloosa.
He's 6'7", 310.
Where's he from?
That's a good starting point. He's from Nixa, Missouri.
Oh, he'll be at Mizzou. He's going to be playing for Eli Drinkowitz.
By the way, so we didn't even offer him.
We know the deal.
Miami, Georgia, Michigan, and Alabama.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. Again, though.
I will tell you, that is one more aggravating point of contention for Florida State fans everywhere. You're like, you hear that list. You're like, guess who's not on that list?
Yeah.
Damn it, man. Can we be on a list?
Hey, baseball team's good. The baseball team's got some first-round players.
Yeah, they do. We need to talk about it in a second. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
One person is dead, another is in serious or critical condition, and 3 others were placed on trauma alerts following a rollover crash on westbound I-10 around 9 p.m. Friday. The crash happened near mile marker 205 between a Toyota and a Chevy. 2 people were in the Toyota and 4 to 5 people were in the Chevy at the time of the collision. The person who died was confirmed to have been in the Chevy. The accident is still under investigation. It is unknown how the collision unfolded and the current condition of the other people involved in the wreck. Then around an hour later, a second fatal wreck occurred just a few miles away. A 31-year-old woman was killed near mile marker 210 just before 10 p.m. The 31-year-old woman was driving behind another car in the same lane, approaching at a faster speed. She attempted to avoid the collision, but still hit the car. After the initial impact, the car went onto the shoulder, down an embankment, and hit an oak tree head-on. She was pronounced deceased at the scene. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at Macklemore Systems.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 84. Southwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 64 tonight, mainly clear. High temperatures reach up to 89 with fog in spots. Early tomorrow, mainly clear skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 80 degrees.
Ain't nothing but a G-Pod, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love. So go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby.
See? Remix.
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Corey and I were just talking about when the roster sizes expand and we get to 120, 130 kids, whatever it is, then you better have 30 offensive linemen in your...
You're going to run 6 deep. You're going to run 6 deep on the offensive line. You can find 5 out of 30.
So 5 got to be able to play.
You've got to be able to find 5 that can play. And we should do some house cleaning. Apparently, he is not committed. The word is that it's heading in the right direction for the Miami Hurricanes to land his commitment. But then another site has him as like Oregon as the favorite. So we'll see. Anyway, Miami's in the running, and somebody's going to pay him a lot of money to come there and maybe not even start as a freshman.
What a time to be alive, to be a recruit of any stature, elite stature. At this snapshot in time.
What would Lorenzo Booker have gotten? Remember him back in the day?
Of course I remember.
Yeah, he was the first guy, everyone, for you youngins. I think he was the 2002 recruiting class, I think.
I just remember
he was the number 1 player in the country.
Leon was better.
Well, he was. Well, he didn't know that at the time, but he was the number 1 player in the country, huge Florida State fan, lived in Southern California. He was supposed to go to Notre Dame. He became the first person to do the hat thing, and he did it on ESPN on a live sports center.
It was a big to-do.
It was a big to-do.
I was on the air.
He was the first person, I think, to ever do that I remember that did a national televised announcement.
Yeah.
And he kind of kicked off the whole thing, and he chose Florida State. And he was the number 1 player in the country.
And he did an interview.
Yeah.
He ended up being on like Rome and all these other shows.
Because it was so abnormal for him to be that big a deal. And then, he ended up, Thomas Clayton was in that class, Hollywood Clayton, but Leon Washington was also a part of that.
Leon
class.
Washington turned out to be the best of the bunch.
Yes, yeah, Leon could play, man.
Leon could play a lot.
Yeah,
Leon was my man.
Think about that. They had Lorenzo Booker, Leon Washington, Thomas Hollywood Clayton, who had a nice career at Louisville. Greg Jones was in their backfield back in the day.
Greg worked out.
Yeah,
I will tell you this: the first time I ever laid eyes on Greg Jones, I thought this is ridiculous. It sounds strange. I couldn't stop staring. Nobody should look like that at that age.
Did he have his shirt off?
Oh, always.
Yeah, well, I would too if I was him. I'd go into class with my shirt off.
Everywhere he went, we would all be like, look at this dude.
Yeah.
Who is this freak?
It's weird. As I've gotten into shape more and more, I probably shouldn't go down this road, but I don't care. I do find myself looking at men's bodies more and admiring them. I don't like saying that out loud. I wish I hadn't.
You just did.
But when you work out on yourself, you do kind of when you're at the gym, you're like, man, look at those.
Of people that are in shape and not in shape. I agree with that, but
no,
let's not get fixated.
I'll look,
not overly.
When somebody's doing curls, I'm looking. I'm paying close attention. I'm staring daggers at them, man. Like, oh man, look at those veins popping. Look at my dog over there. Got any tips?
Good Lord,
got any tips, man?
No, it's all online. You can find anything.
That's what I have to ask you.
It is all online, buddy. There's every kind of instruction you could possibly want.
True. That's true.
So you don't need to bother the poor man doing curls who's now freaked out.
Yeah,
He's coming over
just staring at him. I'm just staring at him.
No, I just back to our discussion, our larger discussion here. You can't do all of the things that we're aspiring to do, such as compete at the highest level for all the top recruits, get back to being a viable program to win a conference championship, to get into the college football play. Like, this year is the stepping stone back to that. The frustration stems from having to redo what you already did just a couple of years ago.
It sucks that you're rebuilding in year 6. That should never be, especially what I think. I still believe in Norvell, man. I'm not giving up completely on the guy. 2-10 can make you question your life a little bit, but I'm not giving up on him because the year before he was 13-0. So I still believe in him. But yeah, year 6 having to do a rebuild again isn't ideal. But
it shook everybody to the core of legitimately. Like, I get a lot of people who say, like, what? You're really down on him. He went 2-10.
Yeah. 2-10 in year 5, by the way, not 2-10 in year 2, 2-10 in year 5. That was the problem.
I remain incredulous at those that don't understand the anger, the indignation. Like, how are you not mad is what I want to say to them. I'm not saying like it consumes you and you personally hate Mike the man, but you're furious about the situation. Even his most staunch supporters are furious about the situation.
Yep.
And you're right to
especially when you're trying to get out of a conference and you're saying you're the bell cow. Yeah, of course, man. And I think what I did, I talked about this on Wake Up too. Like, I almost got so caught up in the day-to-day, week-to-week of last fall that I didn't take the 10,000 step. You did it much quicker than I did about the 10,000 foot view of what in the world is this? Like, you just were like, you were trying to explain it away. Well, the quarterback can't move and they don't block real well. And it's like, there's no excuse for this ever. But what I think could be the positive is if they go 7-5 last year, you're like, man, a few breaks here and there, maybe we'd had a really nice season.
You lie to yourself.
You could lie to yourself and not realize Norvell will never admit publicly where he screwed up the most, which was obviously an evaluation of the talent, evaluation of maybe the personalities, the character, all that stuff. But he now knows it. Like, he knows exactly what not to do. If there's any silver lining for a 2-10 season, it's like, well, I know not to do that, and that now because that was a disaster. So at least you got that going for yourself.
I think the thing that ends up shining through is that unequivocally you can say, without knowing the specific reasons or the biggest catalyst for it, you can say he lost the team.
Yeah.
There's no questioning that.
But that team's gone, thankfully.
Right. Yeah. And they've done a good job of, extricating many of those players and having them move on and ushering them out the door. Many did so on their own accord. But I think there's no way you could go 2-10 with the talent. They finished last in the ACC, Corey. They were behind Cal, the team they beat. They didn't. Yeah. They were all alone.
Buddy, I was there. I remember.
Yeah. I remember. So they're all alone in last.
Yeah.
That's not
they
really.
They were 1-10 on the season. Charleston Southern doesn't count.
It's really no way for that to happen without losing the team.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that that's going to happen ever again. There are valuable lessons to come up from that. You're right. And you certainly did a good job of, I think infusing this roster with something that makes more sense for the floor to be raised.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I want us to have a different debate 3 years from now. And I don't mean the debate about 2-10, should he be fired or not. I'm talking about the debate where you hit your head on the ceiling because of the offense you're running.
Yeah.
That's a fun debate to have because it means this becomes a successful turnaround.
And you're close to being championship level.
That's the only way you're going to have the argument is that this thing ends up doing a 180 and you're like, oh, okay, they're 10-2 now. But, man, are you going to beat elite teams running this system? Let's have that debate.
Yeah.
That's a much more fun debate.
Because you need to be beating the mediocre teams at least.
Like a drum.
Yeah,
like a drum.
Like 2012 FSU.
Like every Saturday you go, it's an easy win for the boys. And then we, to varying degrees, judge on how well they played. But the question of win or loss is not one. Right? You're just like, oh, well, they're going to win the game. 30-20 or 41-17, big difference, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But you got to get back to that. And that's the fear is that I don't know that you can overcome what you wrought.
But I think I would agree with you if it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago.
If it was 10 years
ago.
ago.
But I think like now it is such a different time that we don't know. We're living in uncharted waters, man. Like this hasn't ever happened to a program before. Legitimately, nobody's ever gone 13-0 and then 2-10, and they've never done it in the portal era. So you can flip it really quickly. So I think the mindset that, man, once you've lost a team or lost a program,
you used to be screwed.
You were done. But I don't think that's necessarily the case now. But I don't know that for sure. I mean, again, we neither one of us know. I am hopeful that 2025 will be better than 2024. I am hopeful
I
of
have
that,
no
Jeff.
doubt that it will be.
There you go. Hey,
You
then
don't
we're
have
on
to
the same page.
You don't have to remain hopeful. That's going to happen, Corey Clark.
No,
it's
good.
going to happen.
And if it
we
doesn't,
are going. Well,
we're burning everything down. We're burning the studio
the new
down.
stadium.
The stadium.
new stadium.
Yeah. All the parking spots that nobody can park in.
No. My dad just got his new parking.
He
went
did.
through the
Is he
process.
okay with this parking?
He is.
There are some complaints on the boards about how it's been run.
Yeah. My dad texted me this morning, in fact, to tell me parking's done. We're all good. I'm going to the game.
Does he have to park by the Civic Center?
No. He's
by the stadium.
He's parking where he has always parked.
Oh, good.
Well,
good
at
for
least
him.
in the last 10 years.
All right.
And by the way, I made the decision, and I confirmed with Pops this morning that I would be sitting in the stands with him, not the press box, the stands for Florida State, Alabama.
You should do that every game.
I do most of the time, and then you rip me.
How many? Well, sometimes you leave at halftime. I'm saying
when we're losing to Pitt by 30. I might leave it.
Right. As I would give anything to go to a football game with my dad. And I haven't been able to do that for 14
he's
years.
Invited you to sit with him.
I know. I got to
to
sit by Ira and listen to them complain about the referees.
Yeah.
But so I would say you should do that you don't know how many times your dad's going to be able to get season tickets to watch the Noles.
All but 2 last year with him in the stands.
Were you there for the Cal game?
Yes.
Oh man,
14-9. We were picking each other up and celebrating another missed field goal by Cal.
That's right.
It's gonna happen.
Two touchdowns. That's 2 touchdowns.
Look at Farmer.
Yeah,
this is incredible. They can't block him.
We're
this
back.
is our night.
Well,
our
hey.
night.
Does he ever come up for baseball? Just segue real quick.
Yeah, he does, and he sits with the animals. He's friends with all those guys.
Okay, all right.
He goes and sits up
but he's
there.
not coming this weekend. It's a big series.
So it's a huge series, and it's what it's all about. When you get back to being good, which is what we're talking, we hope the football team does. This is what you do. This is it. Like, this has historically been the case at Dick Hauser, Mike Martin Field, where you have a chance to play in a series like this that has a lasting impact on where you're seated, whether or not you're host, all these different ramifications.
It's a super regional. It's like a super regional matchup. It's going to have a super regional field. North Carolina is very good.
Let me ask you this, because you and I are both baseball guys. We love the sport. We pay close attention, the whole deal. I think it's a huge deal to see the way that Joe Charles is emerging.
Oh, yeah. Those last 3 games have been great.
And his stuff is good.
It's always been there.
It's always been there. So if he's going to locate and he's going to pitch with confidence and he's not going to walk people, which he hasn't.
Yeah.
6 1/3 of his last 3 appearances. I think he's walked 1.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He struck out 12.
So, yeah. He's been really, really good, and he hasn't given up a run. So we were we were pleading for a bullpen arm to be something that you could depend on, that you could fall back on if you get good starts. And you're going to get, most of the time, you're going to get good starts from Jamie Arnold. You're going to get good starts from Vellini. You just got a good start from Mendez. That was nice. So, who are the 2 to 3 guys that you go, all right, I feel pretty good when they come into the game? We're always going to be a little nervous against good teams. That's the way it is, but there's no perfect team out there. That's fine. And this offense has been lengthened. They're good. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. Man, the emergence of Joe Charles is the biggest development in the latter part of the season.
If it's real, it's incredibly important.
When is it real to you, though? Like, if he does it again this weekend?
Postseason. I mean, at this point, it's I guess this series, because it will feel like a postseason game. And for those that don't know, if you're not dialed into baseball, they have I think they're right now 9 in the RPI. North Carolina is 10 or 11. Florida State's number 2 in the country. North Carolina, I think, is 4th in as far as the rankings. So I feel like whoever wins this series is guaranteed of being a top 8 national seed.
Yes.
There's a chance that even if you lose this series 2-1, you could still be a top 8 national seed, but the other ones are all going to the SEC. So if you want to be a top 8 national seed, which means if you win your regional, you get to host a super regional.
That's correct.
You need to win this series. This feels like a postseason series, and it's going to have that atmosphere and that electricity at Hauser, at least certainly on Thursday and Friday night. So if he does it there again and is dominant again, because it's one thing to do it on a Sunday against Clemson when it's 11-9 when you come in.
And 11-9 was kind of important.
It was, but it was also like there's just a different energy at night. There's a different energy in a regional, super regional game. So, and then you go and do it in Berkeley. It's like, okay, man, there's 1,000 people there. Half of them are Florida State fans. This weekend, if he can look like this again, then I'm sold. And what it would mean for the team is like, okay, man, now you got a guy you can use 2 games in a weekend that can go get you 6 or 8 outs and dominate.
Yeah,
and that's a really big deal. If you actually have a closer, that's an enormous deal.
And Connor Holt's coming back. We'll see what he is.
Yeah.
Now, we remember at the end of last year, he was really good. And then, look, he's kind of it sounds weird to say this, kind of a one-pitch pitcher, right? If that curveball snapping off, he becomes really important to you.
But he didn't get to pitch this weekend,
No,
which
he
I was
didn't,
hoping he would.
but he was available.
Yeah.
It was nice to know that. I don't know. I mean, you throw him in the fire this weekend? Good Lord.
I was going to say,
that's a bit
hopefully you're
rough.
winning 11-1 or something. You
I
give him
want
a
him to get
chance.
some work before the postseason.
Well, ACC tournament's a perfect time for it because who cares?
Because who cares is right. Isn't that weird?
It's ridiculous. They should just get rid of them.
Do you care less about the ACC tournament in baseball or basketball?
Oh, baseball. Baseball by far, because baseball isn't a one-off. Like basketball, that you do win games and you advance. That's how the real tournament works. But in you don't have it's double elimination in baseball, and it's not in the ACC tournament. It's single elimination. It's stupid. It's goofy. I wouldn't even pitch Arnold if you didn't need to. Just save him. It doesn't matter. Don't even go. Do a Krikorian. Just send all your backups.
I'm good, guys. We're not going.
We're not going. We secured it. Nothing good can happen except one of our guys tears a labrum or something.
Over the years, I've always been, because, they'll crown the conference champion based on the tournament.
Which is just dumb.
Asinine.
In baseball specifically.
It's asinine.
Yeah.
And I don't like it in basketball.
I don't either, but baseball makes no sense.
Think about how you play a long season, short rest, quick turnarounds, home and away, overcome injuries, bunch of games. That's a truer test of what a team is or is not.
Well, think
not
about
a silly truncated tournament.
The FSU softball team lost one game in the regular season. They won the regular season ACC championship.
Yeah.
They lose on a 2-run homer in the 7th in Boston. And Clemson gets to say they're the ACC champs because they won that game.
They can say it, but we know.
But
they're
Florida
not.
State was 20-1 or whatever they were in the ACC this year. So yeah, but bad loss by the way. Not a bad loss. They're still a top 8 national seed, but that was a disappointing loss.
Yeah, but this is a year where as long as they're the 5 national seeds, so they're fine.
And Oklahoma's not great.
Right, that's what I mean.
It's wide open.
It's one of the first times that we can say going into the postseason where you're not like, well, but there's this thing lurking out there.
This monster.
This monstrosity that you can't beat, especially since, by the way, you're going to have to beat them in their backyard.
Yeah.
Like that is like they play that thing in Oklahoma City. What do we do?
Maybe they won't even get there this year.
Well, I mean, wouldn't that be a miracle?
Yeah.
Couldn't happen to a nicer coach if that happens at Oklahoma.
I think what we hate the most about her and her program is the way they draw walks. And then they just turn and slam the bat down and scream at the dugout.
Take over college baseball.
Well, college
Did you
baseball is
see
out
the
of
Texas-Florida thing?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
I give credit to the Texas coach coming out to yell at his own player.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have yanked him off the base path.
Tennessee and Vanderbilt had the same thing too.
But that's their coach does this. This is their coach caused this whole thing. So all of anything that's wrong in America was Tennessee coach's fault.
And it looked fun to a 19-year-old. Like, that looks like a lot of fun to talk smack and stare
Any
up.
problem we have in this country is because
Tony
of Tennessee's
Vitello.
head coach. That is the reason for
not
our
just
issues.
sports problems,
No, any
problems
problem.
in general.
Financial problems, the tariffs, anything.
It goes back
it's
to Tony
all
Vitello.
him at Tennessee because that guy is an ass.
Yeah, ruin the sport.
It's embarrassing.
I'd take him in a heartbeat. If Link leaves, though, I'd hire him in a heartbeat.
I didn't say he couldn't coach. I never said anything about whether or not he was a good coach. He's just impossible.
Yeah.
He's a petulant child roving back and forth in the College World Series.
I know. That's why that check swing is all the more frustrating.
It's impossible. All right, we'll get to headliner questions. Hang in there with us. Our flew past. This is fun. Seminole Headlines continues in a moment.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Is your lunch break feeling a little bland? Escape the ordinary with a visit to Café de Martín. Whether it's a fresh ceviche or a steaming plate of arroz con pollo, our Peruvian flavors turn any lunch hour into a culinary adventure. Fast, flavorful, and always unforgettable. Café de Martín is your new go-to for lunch. Visit the menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callcalls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Calls. We'll get them all.
Calls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
PGA Championship tees off on Thursday at the Quail Hollow Club in Charlotte. You can bet the big guns versus the field. The big guns are the favorite at minus 125, but it's Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, or Justin Thomas. The field at minus 105 for the PGA Championship. Shane Bond's on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays today, plus 105 at Toronto, minus 125. It's Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays, 8 over at Rogers Center. Spencer Schwalbenbach on the mound for the Atlanta Braves, a $2.25 favorite over the Capitals. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Member Week is here at Lowe's. Don't miss your chance to get up to 40% off hundreds of items like paint, outdoor and home essentials, and more. Shop our exclusive deals happening in-store and online now through May 14th. Not a rewards member? Join for free today and get ready to save more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness could come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, gotta get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You gotta trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those storm leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Bar Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction Talk.
CCC 1331204.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Our thanks to all of you for listening and watching and all the things. We appreciate it very much. And that includes Dr. Birch Orthodontics, where for the first time in Headlines history, my son is simultaneous to us doing this hour at Birch Orthodontics.
So he's listening to this right now.
I don't know if he's listening.
Well, it's on the PA, right?
Oh,
They play
it goes throughout the offices, yes. No, but he's there. He's there. His appointment was at the start of the hour that she sponsors.
Oh, yeah. How about
cool
that?
is that?
Yeah, that's symmetry.
That is the most ringing endorsement there can be.
Right.
Is that, as we're doing this second hour, I'm going to get to headliner questions in a moment. Birch Orthodontics, Dr. Birch and her wonderful staff are seeing my son just to make sure that the perfection of his teeth have remained the same and that he's properly utilizing the whatever the
technology.
Is. Yeah, he's doing all the things.
Yeah. Heather Birch, the best in the business, the best in the world, probably the best in the world. And she just happens to reside in Tallahassee, but I'd put her up against any in the world.
Kristen writes.
By the way, either Charlie Weiss, the Charlie Weiss Award,
okay.
because he was horrible at Notre Dame.
You looked it up. He had the one good, the 8-win season,
yeah,
then a 4-win season.
And then they went Brady Quinn. They had one good year with Brady Quinn, I think. But he was horrible at Notre Dame.
His poor belt hanging on for dear life.
Yeah. Remember when he sat on the cooler as the Florida OC?
Yeah.
But Ray Goff, to go back a little old school, like he was in between Vince Dooley, who was pretty good at Georgia, and then Jim Donnan, and then Mark Richt, and then Kirby Smart. The one who really didn't belong, who never had a good season, was Ray Goff. So, and they called him Ray Goof. So that would be a good award too.
What about was it Mike Price?
Price
never got to
Roll
go.
Tide because the side story.
Yeah,
strippers, yeah.
Mike Price. That could be the award.
But he was good. He was good at Washington State. Yeah, Ray Goff was never.
But I think he shamed himself into being the name of the award.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine getting the Alabama job? Now, it wasn't the Alabama job as we know it, but it was still storied.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's still Bear Bryant. It's still.
I think he was taken over after DeBose, so it wasn't even like a lot of pressure. Wasn't even like a lot of pressure on him.
No, he was coming in there. He should have had it made.
Yeah.
Gene Stallings was my man. I'm a Gene Stallings kind of guy. So, the legendary program, and you lose that job.
Before you even coached a game.
For strippers and a credit card.
Yeah,
what
guys,
are you doing, buddy?
Google Mike Price, Alabama fired. It's an incredible
Before coaching a single game.
Yeah, incredible story.
That's a tough one to answer.
It's alleged. I don't even know if it's true. And in fact, I think Sports Illustrated got sued for it. But still, he got fired.
He did. And I think there were elements of it that were certainly
true.
All right, here you go. Kristen writes, hey, guys, what is the position that you are most concerned about for football this year and the position that you're most confident in? That's a good one. Well, wouldn't you always say quarterback?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be – he doesn't have to be a great passer, but he's got to be the complete package. He's got to be this runner, an elite runner.
Yeah.
So I would say him because he's not a big kid and he could get hurt easily.
Yeah, it could go sideways. I mean, it didn't really go sideways for him last year at Boston College, but he wasn't good and got benched, I guess. I didn't watch him.
Well, they were trying to make him a pocket passer.
Yeah, which was just dumb. I don't understand. It's weird that he even stayed. Like, how did Bill O'Brien get Castellanos to even stay if he was going to
Well,
turn
but I
into
think if
that
I was
kind of quarterback.
Castellanos, maybe I fancy myself wanting to improve my passing game.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
But you couldn't. I'm not going to be an NFL quarterback. Let me go somewhere
but
I
a
can
kid
shine.
doesn't think that way.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, quarterback's the right answer, I think. Just not that we don't think he can be good or certainly serviceable, but it's an unknown, and it's the most important position, and he's not a guaranteed success.
Correct. And so what's the position you're most confident in? You feel like, can't miss, going to be outstanding. Lock it down.
Tight end.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say tight end.
Which isn't.
Yeah, they got a lot of tight ends.
It's maybe the least important position.
Well, not in this offense.
But it's not as important as offensive line or wide receiver.
Correct.
So I would say tight end because I think Landon Thomas is going to take a big step up. I think Pittman's a good player, and then they really like Chase Lofton.
First of all, you're going to like Pittman.
Yeah.
Lofton's young, so I don't know how quickly you would say that he's going to be. Look, and who knows? Is Amari Williams going to play?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tight end. But the Pittman kid that you just referenced is an outstanding player. He's 6'2", 240, and he's physical.
Yeah.
And we saw that in the scrimmage you and I were at.
Yeah.
Ran over a player.
He did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's some stuff there.
He's got some what for to him.
And I would
Lofton is a tall 6'6", 225 kid, but he's I don't know how complete he is.
I would also say with the addition of the kid from, is it Houston, the cornerback? I like the corners. I think you've got so many capable corners that whoever ends up being a starter out of that group is going to have to be a real good, is going to have played really well in August. And you're probably going to need them because last time I checked, Alabama has some pretty good wide receivers.
I got to tell you, I really hope they don't give up on Amari Williams on offense.
I just wrote about the tight ends on Warchant, warchant.com. Everyone go read about it.
The depth of the tight ends.
The depth of the tight ends. And I didn't know whether to mention him or not. I did.
It's
but
the
I'm
right
like,
thing to do.
Do they have 4? Do they have 4.5? Do they have 5? Because he showed some kind of special stuff on that side of the ball.
Yeah, he's one of the best athletes on the team, if not the best.
I'd rather him be if he's going to be one of the best athletes. If he's going to start a position, I want him off the edge at defensive end.
Lawrence says, "Good afternoon, boys. You guys are continuously talking about the House bill. A couple of questions. What exactly is it?
Yeah, good point.
And is it the answer that will stop all of this madness? And what in the world is the holdup?" Lawrence is like, "I'm done."
But we've been talking about it for 6 months. I agree with you. It is ridiculous.
So the NCAA, which is the collection of universities, lost in court for unfair labor practices. Is that a better way? I don't know how else you would describe it, right? And they owe back money to all these players.
Yeah.
And so this is a settlement. This is like we're collectively agreeing to pay billions of dollars back to schools to then in turn those schools pay the players.
But then here are the rules and the parameters after that settlement.
Correct.
Which is all we really care about. I don't care if O'Bannon gets money or Leon Washington gets some money for the NCAA.
Right, but the point is that's what he wanted to know how this.
Okay,
is. So that's how we arrived at this. And I simplified it.
Actually, I do care if Leon Washington gets money. I don't know why I said him.
Well,
I could have said anybody. Yeah, he's fine.
But anyhow, long story short, so these universities now are agreeing to pay this money to players, and allegedly there's going to be a cap on what that is.
Right.
Around $22 million, $25 million.
For all athletes on campus.
Right. Which, again,
it's going to be 90% football.
Of course it is.
It should probably be 99%
It should
football.
probably be all football.
Yeah.
but anyhow, it is going to be, right? And then the reason that seems to be important to answer your question, Lawrence, is that it would give some semblance of structure like they have in the NFL where there's a salary cap.
Yeah, structure is always nice when you're trying to run a sport.
Some parameters.
Yeah.
You don't want a multi-billion-dollar business that is without parameters. No rules.
No rules at all. Literally none at all.
Absolutely, there are no rules currently.
No contracts that matter. No rules.
Right. So let's say every school has $22 million and they distribute it accordingly, how they feel they should. But allegedly, there's going to be a group that governs that to make sure that the NIL deals and the money coming in for those players.
I think that's the biggest thing. So
they're going to have a problem.
They're going to share they will, but they have to figure it out. They're going to have to end up making them employees. I don't know why they push so hard against it now, but
right.
You have you're going to share the revenue. So the $22 million of all the revenue all these schools get, $22 million will go to the players or the athletes on campus.
Right.
And then there will be that body that they'll let you have a commercial. They'll let you strike an NIL deal.
Fair market value.
It's got to be fair market value. It's got to be comparable to what an NFL quarterback
They're
would
not
get.
going to be able to do that.
You can't, and you have to have you have to prove that you're actually doing the work and all that stuff. And I don't see how they're going to police that. But as long as they're trying, as long as there could be something illegal going on where you can turn in other teams, then maybe you can get some structure back. And not that anybody ever turned in anybody else because they were all cheating. But
Tennessee turned in Florida.
Yeah, that's true. You could
Back in
get
the
some.
day.
You could get some structure. You could get some structure where everybody is kind of on the same playing field.
You'd like that. I feel like we're going to be waiting for a while because I think we got lawsuits coming after that. If you're trying to cap the money that somebody can make, this is going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem. College football's a mess. It is an ungodly mess, and it is extremely frustrating as fans of college football to be going through this time. Everybody says it's growing pains. We'll see. I mean, Corey, they thought this would be done in April.
Yeah.
And now the judge,
it's not April, Jeff. It's past April.
It's mid-May,
Yeah.
and we're a couple of weeks away from the woman in California, the judge.
Wilkin?
Yeah, I think that's right. She has to decide. And she rightfully, I think, said to the universities, to the NCAA, hey, look, man, you're not going to screw kids that are currently on rosters.
Yeah, by kicking them off
Like,
because they
we're not
count.
doing that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. So go back to the drawing table.
I think she's got the reason people think it's going to come into effect is because she does seem to side with the NCAA more than not. Like she seems to be more in their corner with all her with the I don't know. I don't know anything about it other than they think it's almost
she
like
wants there to be an agreement,
Yes.
and that the bones of an agreement has been, pretty much agreed
So
upon.
hopefully it'll happen, and people have made, like, the football coaches in the country have all made these assumptions that their roster will be at 105 this year or
Right.
120 this year, and there'll be no more walk-ons, but you'll give scholarships to all these players. So we'll see, and also there might be more scholarships for baseball, like up to 30.
A lot, yeah.
And same with softball. Like there won't be scholarship limitations, which is cool if it actually comes into existence. But yeah, we've talked about it for so much. It's like talking about chupacabra. It doesn't actually
a
exist.
never-ending subject.
Yes.
Like Bigfoot and Chupacabra and Loch Ness. What are we doing?
Do they exist?
It
I don't
never-
know.
Yeah. Jason writes, I'm curious if you guys would actually answer this question. Oh, Jason, don't be curious. We would. What are the chances Norvell would be our coach? Or what are the chances is the better way of saying that. And I screwed that up, not you, Jason. What are the chances Norvell would be our coach 2 to 4 years from now? I'm basically asking if you're confident he can get us back to where we were 2 years ago and if he's the long-term option. So when Tom and I talk about this, Corey, I don't know how you phrase this or talk about the odds, but we say he's minus odds to get this back on track. I think it is harder for him.
I think he's plus odds.
Oh, plus odds. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't think the likelihood of him getting this back is such that you would bet on it to be a thing where you had the odds. You would say, I doubt it.
I would say, but even just pragmatically, not even thinking about him as a coach, like if he was here in 4 years, that means he's been at Florida State for a decade. How many schools in this country have a coach for a decade anymore? So just odds are, I would put the odds at, like, I wouldn't do the plus or minus. I'll say it's probably 25% that he's still here in 4 years. And that's not even an indictment necessarily of him as a coach, although last year was a pretty big indictment. It's just that the odds are he won't be here in 10 years. They've had, how long was Jimbo here? Like, they've had one coach in their history that's been here for 10 years, and he was here for 40. But yeah, I just don't, that's not really I don't think Napier will be at Florida in 4 years. I mean, that's the nature of the sport, man. There's a lot of turnover.
It's tough. I think solely based on the situation he finds himself in, and that makes it sound like he's not responsible for that. But it is hard to undo the damage of a 2-10 season. We have said
it's not impossible, though, and he's going to prove it this year, Jeff.
Okay.
So let me go back and say, answer your question. I'm 50% sure he'll be the, but I guess fired with cause, or just fired, period. In the next 3 years, I'd say it's 50-50. I don't know. How could anybody really know? You can't. You can have an opinion. I mean, he's just asking for the opinion. I think it's 50-50.
Well, the reason I say that it's unlikely is that, again, I think there's been a lot of damage done. But that said, we live in the era that if you're going to do it, it would be now. It would not have. Several years ago, you could not have come back from this. You would not have. But now you can. You're right. You can come back from this now.
9-3 this year, 10-2 next year. You're feeling good
It's
about it.
like that season never happened.
It's like, you don't even remember. It's like, Garth Brooks came back from Chris Gaines. He was Chris Gaines, Jeff. He turned into, he had an alter ego where he was a rock star.
With a wig.
Yeah, in a stupid soul patch.
And an awful album.
And he's still Garth Brooks again.
Yeah, it worked out. I'm curious. Oh, no, sorry. Same question. Connor, am I crazy to think if we were to stay healthy, this is a 9 or 10 win team? I really like our starters. I just think we're 3 injuries at the wrong spots away from a 6-loss team.
My confidence, if they're going to be an 8 or 9 or 10 win team somewhere in that range.
Well, there's a big difference between 8 and 10.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, let's say
Especially-
9. If they're going to be a 9-win team, the reason that I'm confident is not necessarily the starters. They're fine. They're good. Some of them will play in the league, I'm sure. I believe in the coaches. I believe in the coaches they brought in.
I like Tony a lot.
Yeah, and I think
Gus raises the floor.
Gus is. You're not going to be inept with Gus Malzahn as your offensive coordinator.
Correct.
You're not going to be a laughing stock. That's not in his DNA. He does not put together putrid offenses. He never has. If he did it here, it'd be the first time in 40 years he's done that.
Well, that would speak to the much bigger
correct.
culture issue.
Yeah, and if Gus Malzahn can't put together a competent offense, well, then something's structurally wrong here, and it needs to be
Mike
changed.
would be fired on the spot is what would happen. But
I believe that he will put together a competent offense, and I like Tony White too. So the coaches have been a big addition.
Yeah, and I think the roster is okay. I just think that, what you're trying to look, you want to win every game you play. But realistically, I think what they wanted to be sure they did was raise the floor. You speak of the competence of this offense. If you're merely competent, and Tony improves the defense, you're going to win 7 games almost by accident, just because you have better players than a lot of the people you're facing.
Well, the 7 games means you go 5-5 in the games that
the
you could lose.
And that would, and you could argue whether or not that's a fireable offense.
Right.
I mean, I doubt they'll fire him, but it would. You could argue they should if they go 7-5.
But I feel don't you feel like just the coaching staff and the people they brought in, the players they brought in, as long as Castellano stays healthy and can run, like 5-5 seems like an absolute floor. Like they're gonna go 5-5.
Automatic wins, then you have the 4
5-5
hard
is like you're losing you're losing all the hard games. And you're also losing 1 or 2 of the coin toss games. And we don't know if at Florida might be the easiest game on the schedule by the time you get there. I doubt it, but we just don't know how a football season will play out. But yeah, man, you go 5-5 in the 10 real games. That seems like you had almost a little bit of bad luck.
Well, here's your problem though, Corey. Flip it. If you say they're going to go 8-4, it means you don't lose any of those 50-50 games. You win every one of them.
No, I don't. It's because I think you can beat. I don't think Miami's unbeatable here.
I'm not saying unbeatable, but
so you can beat Miami and then lose lose to Virginia Tech. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like that can happen. I think Miami's a coin toss.
I think
I throw them in the coin toss. I'm not sold on Carson Beck. I watched him, and Cam Ward didn't even blow this team out. That team last year, the rivalry games are unique. So I'm not sold that Miami's not a coin toss. At Clemson's going to be a toughie. At Florida's probably going to be a toughie.
You're willing to not call that a coin
Alabama's
toss?
a toughie. I throw Miami into the coin toss range. I think that's
so. This is we got the answer. Corey and I disagree on defining the coin toss games. I don't think Miami's a coin toss.
Well,
game.
let's say it's
Florida State's an underdog.
Not
in
a
that
coin
game
toss.
at home.
Maybe that is 50-50, but like you flip the coin 100 times, you can win 61 of those tosses. I mean, that's not outrageous. That happens. You might hit tails 21 times in a row.
We both think they're a little thin, though, and so you are going to have to stay very healthy to win, to get anywhere near to his.
To 10 wins.
His hypothetical
10
is
wins
winning
is
10 games. You can't have injuries almost anywhere.
Yeah.
To get to 10 wins.
Yeah.
That means you are going to win 2 of the 4 toughest games in which you are an underdog as we sit here today.
Right.
You're an underdog to Bama, significant. You're an underdog to Miami. You're an underdog to Clemson on the road, significant. And you're an underdog to Florida.
Yeah,
as we sit here today.
As we sit here today, it's May.
We'll watch the games.
Yeah,
I got you.
It's May.
But as we sit here right now, you're underdog in all those games, and you would have to win 2 of them for certain to get to 10 wins.
Yeah, you'd have to have a special type year. But I mean, the difference
that
between
would be awesome.
That 2022 team wasn't loaded. It wasn't loaded. And that defense at the end of the year was not good. It was not good against Florida. It was not good against Oklahoma. Jordan Travis was becoming Jordan Travis, though. That was a big deal. But they were not having a field goal kicker away from winning 11 games that year. They almost won 11-2. That team, if he would have trusted Fitzgerald to kick that ball against NC State.
He gave him good reason not to.
I'm not doubting Mike Norvell on that one.
Buddy, I understand why.
I maybe would have thrown the fade in the end zone to the 6'6" guy, not the 5'10" guy, but
Correct.
whatever.
Yeah. Matt writes, how excited are you that the illustrious lacrosse team has a stadium before a new baseball stadium?
That's going to be.
I've seen the artist rendering.
They don't have it yet.
No, they don't have it.
Man,
Have you seen it?
I haven't.
All artist renderings
they're incredible.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
They're like, this is the greatest lacrosse stadium of all time.
But the trees all look the same in every artist rendering.
Yeah.
Like just bubble
It's
leaves.
an afterthought.
Yeah, there's like,
It's an
they're not,
afterthought.
what's his name? Who is our guy with the happy little trees?
Oh, why'd you do that?
Not Jim Henson.
No.
It's fine. Chime in the chat, everyone.
Jim Henson.
I know. Frank Oz.
No, why'd you do this? Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. There we go.
Damn it,
Happy
man.
little trees.
I remembered Bob Ross. It would have killed me to go to break before I remembered that. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometexsolutionsllc.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too. 222-7722.
Is your home ready for anything? At Parker Services AC and Electrical, we do more than just keep you cool. We keep your whole home running smoothly. From AC maintenance and duct cleanings to whole home generator installations, we've got everything you need for comfort and reliability. Join our Peak Performance membership to keep your HVAC system in top shape and catch issues before they turn into costly repairs. And with a reliable generator, you'll never be left in the dark again. Call Parker Services today, where comfort is just a call away. Florida license number CMC 050334 and EC 1301240.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Rolling on, let's keep the headliner questions going with the OG headliner. Sean writes, I caught the wildly popular JCS yesterday when Jeff was talking about properly ranking teams in baseball's postseason, 1 through 64. For years, I thought you don't get the best teams in Omaha because the South eliminates teams that should be in Omaha because of the geography. That's correct, Sean. That's what I was saying. When you interview Link at the end of the season, can you see if there's a push for it's never going to happen. He wants proper seating. And I always talk about how they curry favor to other parts of the country to try to give them a fighting chance to have better representation out in Omaha from a region-to-region standpoint, but it's all nonsense. And originally, they hid behind 9/11 and said it was a security thing, which was also a lie.
Well, about flying.
Yeah,
flying across the country.
But it was nonsense. Anyhow, and they hid behind it for a while until they no longer could. Now they don't even hide it. But, yeah, you get screwed. If you're really good and you're in the Southeast, you're going to be facing another team that's infinitely better than somebody in the Midwest.
Just like Lonnie and the softball team knew that they were going to get a SEC team as the 2 seed here.
Yes.
Florida State baseball will have a 2 seed that's an SEC team.
Probably be Florida.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Yeah.
And then UCF or USF or Jacksonville or somebody will be in this field too. It'll be a conference champion from the state of Florida in one of the smaller conferences, and then 2 seeds. It's always an SEC team. Always. Last year was Alabama. Florida State didn't have to play Alabama because they lost to UCF. But yeah, you know what's going to happen, and I don't understand it. I don't understand why you wouldn't want more cross-regional, cross-country type showdowns. I think that's fun. It's what does it really cost? What does it really cost to send San Diego State to Tallahassee?
Back in the day, this happened, Corey.
I know.
I mean, we used to see it.
I know.
Arizona State.
Yeah, there'd be
Pat
6
Murphy
teams
would
in a
come in
regional.
here. All that stuff. It was fun as hell. But they don't do that.
No,
now,
so you'll have, and then you'll get matched up with, if you win your regional, you'll get matched up with the super regional against like flipping Arkansas. They'll probably send Texas A&M here if they make the tournament.
We'll beat that ass.
Which they might not make the tournament.
We'll beat that ass.
Did you know Texas A&M was number 1 in the country preseason? Number 1 in the country.
On the front page of Baseball America.
And they just got swept by Missouri at home. And Missouri was winless in the SEC. Missouri was 0-24 in the SEC.
How does that happen at a place like Missouri that you can't field a decent baseball team?
Clearly they did, because they just went 3-0 in College Station. That's nuts. So they might. Texas A&M legitimately, I think, has to win the conference tournament to get in now.
Hilarious. Philip writes, fellas, if we end up in the Big Ten and are forced to give up one game, would you rather give up Florida or Miami? That's tough. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it. This is the unintended consequences of all of this ruinization of college football.
Yeah, it would be
another lost rivalry.
Good? Yeah, and like who's that good for? I mean, I guess it makes you financially viable, but is it good for the fan bases that you don't have Florida State, Florida?
No.
I mean, that would be crazy.
It would
But
be
that
crazy.
said, if I had to choose, I would choose Florida only because I'm vindictive and it would hurt the SEC. Don't give the SEC another non-conference marquee matchup. They don't want them anyway. That's why you still got time offered to pull out of this game August 30th. Especially if you find out that game day's not coming, they're going to Clemson LSU. Just go ahead and cancel the game.
I would tell you, and that game, by the way, is on ABC. Clemson LSU. They announced that
I
today,
think that's going to be the
8
prime
o'clock.
time game.
It's a prime time game.
Yeah. It's a chance it's going to be Clemson LSU.
No, buddy. They're coming here.
Also, like Clemson LSU wasn't very good last year, were they?
No.
Nothing special.
No, nothing special.
And Clemson made the playoffs, but that's just because they won the crappy ACC.
Barely at the end there.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I would give up the Florida game. I would guess the majority of the fan base disagrees with me on this.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well, you hate Miami more.
I hate Miami.
That's your biggest rival.
That's my biggest rival. It's not close. I don't even think about Florida. But I think about Miami a lot and how much I hate them. And I want that to always be in play.
So we have the same answer, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
I just don't want to help the SEC in any way. If I'm in the Big Ten, is what I'm saying. If I'm in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Actually, when we go to the SEC, if we go to the SEC, I don't want to give up the Miami game.
Yeah, but
I know it makes it really hard, but it's a 16-team playoff.
They might be coming with us. They might be in the SEC with us.
They could end up in the Southwest Conference. Does that exist anymore?
I think
Southwest
so, yeah.
Conference
Them
out
in
there
Arkansas.
playing anymore. We throw them out there with some teams that don't belong in the SEC, for
Yeah.
example. Like send Vandy to the Southwest Conference.
Yeah. Arkansas, Ole Miss,
Yeah,
Mississippi State,
useless
get them
man.
out.
Get Mississippi State the hell up out of
Kentucky.
here for sure. What are we doing? All right. If you could go back in time and accept a bid, writes Nathaniel, to the SEC when there was some mutual interest, what do you suspect would be similar and what do you suspect would be different about the state of our overall athletic programs? This is a great question. This is a long form.
So he's talking about 1991-ish, right? Back then when they chose the ACC.
And he goes on to say, for example, does the baseball program have multiple national titles? P.S. Jeff, I saw the picture of your family on Mother's Day, and there wasn't an alien tooth to be found. What a walking ad for Dr. Birch. That's one toothy Hollywood-esque smile. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you for saying yay registers and go Noles and yay sausage and all that. Yeah.
So if they had gone to the SEC in 1992 as opposed to the ACC, what would be different?
Yeah.
I think the national championships are the exact same,
Right,
maybe
because,
more.
Yeah, because the SEC wasn't any good at that time.
Yeah, I mean, Florida ran through the SEC like
we were
Florida
playing
State
them every year anyhow,
and
so
beating
there's
them
that.
most years. So.
Now, later on, you could make an argument against our third national title.
Yeah, but then you're also maybe your finances are at a point where
much different. Right, this gets really different.
Yeah, I think overall it would have been a net positive. You think? For the last 30 years, if you were in the SEC?
Well, knowing what we know now, certainly.
It's a net positive for every
There's old
sport.
Corey, always looking back in hindsight.
Yep, for every sport. I don't know why, but I do think baseball would have found a way. I just think right now the SEC in baseball is
but by the way,
impossibly good.
It is, but the ACC doesn't suck in baseball.
No, it doesn't. But I wonder if you were in the SEC.
Year that we move forward, we're in trouble.
Yes, but I also think if you were in the SEC and playing at Arkansas routinely and playing at Mississippi State routinely and A&M routinely, you would be like, we've got to have a better stadium than this. We've got to compete with the people in our conference.
Or just listening to the Jeff Cameron show for the last 15 years. What are we doing?
We've done some stuff with the video board. We can't do the baseball stadium.
But
I feel like that arms race would have heated up about 15 years ago. And you might have a stadium right now with College Town as the background.
Well, we need to get there as soon as possible, but it seems to me that's not going to happen until we get the hell up out of here and get the extra cash. Hello, gents, writes Marlon. Looks like game day is coming to Tallahassee. See, he agrees with me. It's coming here.
Okay.
It's basically announced.
It's already announced. Yeah,
we might as well break the news, everybody. Game day's on their way.
They're on the way.
First question, does Lee Corso pick us with Saban present? Second, I don't think he's afraid of Saban.
No, and it's his last show, right?
Yeah, this is it. That's all. He's got to pick us.
Yeah. He's got to put up. What does he do? He doesn't put on the headdress anymore. That's problematic these days.
Yeah, can't do that.
Does he put on like the Cimarron horse head?
He could spear Saban in the chest.
That's not a bad play. Or Herbstreit. If he speared Herbstreit in the chest.
In the stomach.
In
have
real
fake
blood.
Ready to go.
You want fake blood.
I don't want him to actually stab him.
Okay.
But like you could do a whole thing.
Yeah.
Just pierce him.
Yeah.
You want to ingratiate yourself to the fan base again. Embrace that, ESPN.
Herbstreit should, absolutely let himself be stabbed.
Let him
be impaled,
and then have Corso hold it up aloft.
Yeah,
with blood dripping from the tip of the spear.
And then Fowler
on the desk.
And then Reese Davis is like, "We'll see you at 3:30 after this this Penn State Minnesota game. Have fun Saturday, everyone."
Second question: understanding all that is against us, how does Mike game plan 10 Georgia Tech opening drives to allow us to pull the upset?
He's got all summer to think about that. Like, don't just have one of those for the whole season.
Do you think he just forgot that he needed more successful drives than the opener? Like, hey, it's not this one dog ain't going to get it done.
Well, when you go into a season knowing you're only going to score 19 touchdowns for the whole season, you got to spread them out. You don't want 5 in the first game. Then you're in real trouble.
Noel Tiggety, give a few good reasons this 25 team is not comparable to the 2022 team. Nearly every criticism thrown at this 25 team was thrown at the 2022 team preseason, including the way many discussed Jordan Travis going into that season compared to Tommy going into this one.
True.
Offensive line, running back, defensive line, etc. No Tiggety's a positive thing.
I like it. And I brought this up before. There is a comparison there. I think the leap you have to make, though, is that
team wasn't coming off a 2-10.
It wasn't. It was basically, but it came off a horrific start to that season.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had a better quarterback. I mean, you had a guy that was ascending to be one of the better quarterbacks in the country. We didn't know that at the time, but he was. And can Castellanos be anywhere close to that? Because if he is, then a 9-3, 10-3 type season isn't out of the realm of possibility if Castellanos looks like 2022 Jordan Travis, right? Like Jordan Travis in 2022.
Well, Jordan Travis became really good at processing information pre-snap and accurately throwing from the pocket to go along with his preternatural gifts.
But
as a
remember,
runner.
in 22,
he wasn't right.
They won games where like that Miami game down there, he threw 12 times. He was like 10 of 12. Like they won a lot with the Syracuse game. He threw for like 150 yards. They won 38-3. They bludgeoned people with the running game.
They were able to do that
because of his legs. Even though he didn't use them a ton in 22, he used them more than he did in 23. But so I think there's a chance there. Also, that team had Jared Verse. They had a wrecking ball on the defensive line, and I don't know and love it when he played.
Is going to be that guy, buddy.
But there are similarities to it. There are similarities. You're right, though. They're not coming off 2-10, and I don't think Castellanos is as good as Jordan Travis was. But I didn't think Jordan Travis was going to turn into Jordan Travis.
Well, none of us did, and I certainly didn't. But he became this otherworldly thing. This ability to come to the line of scrimmage, understand all of the look. They threw the kitchen sink at him at LSU, and he was like, "Nope, got it. Boom, boop, boop." Everything was accurate. We watched the transformation. It was unbelievable.
It started right away that year. The LSU game was right away. Like he was like 9 of 15 on third downs. He was really good the whole game.
In the first half, we were both in the stadium
press box.
In the press box. In the
because remember I missed the blocked extra point because I was in the bathroom.
That's right.
Well, I saw Brian Kelly hold up one. I'm like, well, we're going overtime. I've been holding this P for 20 minutes.
I forgot about that.
And I come out and the game's open.
And then I walk down onto the field to go into that godforsaken press room. It's not even a press room. It's like it might as well be a toilet.
Yeah.
You go in there, it's 170 degrees.
And there's
we were
30
sweating.
people in there.
Oh, it was the worst.
And it's the Sugar Bowl. It's the Superdome. It's not like we were at the Orlando game. We were at the Superdome. That's an NFL stadium.
I sound like spoiled media, but man, I was standing next to Ira and I'm just profusely sweating. Saying they can't do better than this.
Yeah.
We can't get a fan up in this bitch.
Yeah.
What are we doing? This is awful.
We could have done this on the field.
Yeah.
It'd be more airy.
Much better.
Yeah.
Dan writes, Chris Berman just turned 70 and extended his ESPN. Oh, I can't do it.
He's out. He doesn't dominate the airwaves.
No, thank God.
But he's kind of like the Corso in the sense that he's almost like I don't know how to phrase this right. I don't want to call him a mascot because that's dehumanizing, and he's been very, very important to that that network. He was incredibly important to that, and he was really good back in the day, I thought. But he's become more like just a guy, like
caricature.
Basically.
Yeah.
But a guy they want to. He's a professor emeritus or something. They just want him around.
Yeah.
Even though he's not really doing much.
All the whooping and it got old after a while.
Yeah, but him and Tom Jackson back in the day, buddy. That was good. That was a good.
Is Tom Jackson dead?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long while.
It's been a minute.
So he might be.
I think he may be dead. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
Multiple homes and properties are damaged following a possible tornado that touched down in the northeastern part of Holmes County Saturday. First responders struggled to get to some areas impacted, often needing to cut through downed trees and power lines to reach those in need. 18 homes or structures have been reported as damaged. The sheriff's office says all roads are now passable, but big debris remains on the shoulders. Governor Ron DeSantis has signed an emergency declaration to help the recovery efforts in Holmes County following the severe tornado damage. Sunday afternoon, Holmes County Emergency Management Director Barry Lee received the executive order from Governor DeSantis. The Florida State Guard has been activated and will be sending personnel and equipment to assist with storm cleanup. The sheriff's office is asking the public to put debris near the edge of the road while keeping roads and driveways clear. They say this will help crews collect it more efficiently. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 84. Southwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 64 tonight, mainly clear. High temperatures reach up to 89 with fog in spots early tomorrow, mainly clear skies. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 82.
I got a
fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I gotta have more cowbell.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food. It's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín. Authentic Peruvian. Right around the corner.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
You know what's interesting?
We should have Ira call in for a segment.
Is he available?
I don't know. Probably not.
What are you going to do? Michael writes, what are you hearing about Bill Belichick's future at North Carolina? And I know why he's asking. You've seen these rumors in the last 24, 48 hours, haven't you?
No. He just talked at the Amelia Island. Maybe that's what Ira was doing. He was listening to him talk.
I'm kind of curious. There's a real worry that he's never going to coach a game at North Carolina. That it'll never happen. That it's off the reservation. Bill has lost it. It's spiraling out of control. They hate what's her face.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like that's really functioning in the way that they had hoped.
You know, they met when she was 19. She was 19 when they met.
That's of legal age, Corey.
I know. It's just
I know.
But hey,
I know it. Here comes the diatribe.
No, I won't. I won't. Hey, the heart wants what it wants, Jeff. As Woody Allen famously said.
You think that this was just, on that plane, the conversation, she found herself falling head over heels.
Well, and him too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I can see it from his side.
I guess. Gross old man.
No, I'm not saying it that like anything about her. I'm saying like, most of the time when you see this situation, you're like, yeah. Who is this benefiting?
Yeah. Well, and she's so public. Like, she's such a forward, public-facing person. If she was more in, like, it would be different. But she's like, she's a PR guy. She's there every PR person. She's there all the time. So this is what comes with it. It's not just like David Hale pushed back a lot, saying, I still like Godfather too, even though De Niro just had a kid and he's 81. It's like, yeah, but De Niro is not running an entire franchise. There's a difference there. He's just a creepy old man.
Right.
But there's a lot of creepy old men
There's
out
a ton
there.
of them, by the way.
But
The world's filled with them.
They're not running franchises. And De Niro's young wife, isn't trying to be the director of his next movie. So that's the difference.
I would give anything to have been on the set to watch this nightmare. Like, that interview had to have been disastrous.
Can you imagine being the guy interviewing him?
Well,
like, what's going on?
And for them to leak it, they were furious.
Oh, that's 100%.
They were furious.
They didn't leak it. It was part of the broadcast.
But I'm saying, like, to include it, they had to have been like, man, F this guy.
Yeah, and F her.
Ridiculous.
This is crazy. He's letting her treat us like this.
Let's let everybody see what we're witnessing right here, right now.
Smart. But I wouldn't be so. It doesn't seem like it could end very well.
No, it doesn't seem like it. A lot of people. This is from Trick Knoll. A lot of people are concerned about this whole lacrosse thing. Any thoughts on the new lacrosse rendering, or is it rumored, or its rumored location on the southwest side of campus? Would have thought doubling up with soccer like many schools do, UNC, UF, or building out the band club lacrosse field would garner more game day fan support.
I would think they wouldn't want to do the soccer thing because soccer's got its own thing going.
Right.
They're not. There's no way you should ask what is, without doubt, the best program in the country
in America
to say, hey, you got to split your field and your facility now.
Krikorian off.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted a bunch of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Pinsky's come right in and been awesome. But
nothing against him.
But yeah, so I think that was a non-starter to think that they would just use the soccer field. Soccer is too important at this school to just be like, okay, we'll share our facility with this up and coming this new program. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it's like with lacrosse. I assume they're going to be good because Florida State's good in most women's sports. Very, very good.
Yeah.
So I assume they'll be good pretty quickly because it's a huge sport in the South, and Florida State doesn't have a problem getting really good female athletes here.
Jason writes, do you buy the Miami hype? Corey says no. I'm going to answer for him. He doesn't buy it at all.
What hype? Like, what are they going to be ranked preseason, you think?
Top 15, for sure.
Okay.
Maybe top 10.
Yeah, all right. They're not number one. They're not Texas A&M baseball.
If you're preseason top 10, you are hyped.
Yeah.
So he goes on to say, with the loss of Ward to the NFL, Beck's UCL injury, that's the big one. I want to know how healthy is he?
Cristobal said yesterday that he's supposed to be he's going to resume. He's going to be full go for their summer stuff.
All right.
That's what he says, but of course he would say that.
He goes on to say a bad defense and Cristobal's in-game coaching. I think Miami will take a Michigan-like backslide this year. Well, Miami did lose, 4 games last year? So,
yeah.
I mean, they only have to lose another game to get to Michigan's 5-loss play.
Well, also, they're not, unlike Michigan, they're not coming off a national championship. They didn't even get to the conference championship game.
Didn't get there.
So it won't be a Michigan. It won't be a Michigan-like slide because they didn't get
another
a trophy.
year at Miami. Just another season in the ACC for Miami, everybody.
Yep. Par for the course.
Trailer Swift writes, Jeff, you need to check in on your boy Dan Lanning. This is why I brought it up yesterday. It's a humiliating video.
Oh, I didn't see the video.
Oh, buddy.
What is it? Something with a pool?
Yes. Or you can just say that out loud. You know it's bad. So first of all,
Dan Lanning, the head coach at the University of Oregon.
Yeah,
okay.
The really good head coach at the
Yes,
University
right.
of Oregon.
Let's go.
All right. Anyhow, so, the Brian Kelly video is the one that is everything's compared to that.
Brian Kelly?
Yes. The dancing around with the recruit.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Everybody considers that the cringiest of all recruiting moments.
Right.
Right. And all these coaches now have to do things that you and I would never do.
Right.
And it's unbecoming.
Imagine Bear Bryant on a podium doing a hula.
Pelvic thrust.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it. That's a Saturday Night Live skit. Anyhow, so you bring him back from the dead and he has to recruit.
Yeah.
Hey,
Coach, in 2025.
Coach, here's what I need you to do. Take your shirt off. What?
Yeah. This 17-year-old wants this for the gram.
Yeah, and you can wear the hat. The houndstooth's going to look good in this, but just now I need you to pretend like you're on a wave. What are you talking about?
He's from Hawaii. Get it?
Anyhow, so he goes on to say, did we notice they were watching
Dan Lanning?
So Dan Lanning, they got another elite recruit in Oregon, a defensive end, one of the best in the country.
Okay.
So there's a lot of troubling aspects to this.
This is a recruiting video.
Yes.
Okay.
A commitment video.
Okay.
So from what I can tell, it looks like they're on top of a hotel. There's a pool bar and on top of a hotel, right?
All right.
And the recruit is sitting down initially, if you watch the whole video, in like his skivvies, which is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like he's wearing
he's at a pool though.
Yeah,
so he's in a bathing suit?
Yeah, it's not a bathing suit. It's like a workout underpants.
Okay. All right. So you got me there. Locked and loaded now. Is it a good body?
He's a college football player to me. So anyhow, he stands up. Now, Corey, this is important to note because it's unsettling. He stands up and adjusts himself, which is not part of the video. It's just something he does.
Yeah, that wasn't in the script.
That wasn't in the script. So that's the first thing that happens. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then they could have edited that out.
Right.
And then secondly, he says something and then runs to jump in the pool. But right before he runs to jump in the pool, Dan Lanning comes out and acts shocked that he's gotten this commitment. And he goes like, oh, he's acting.
Okay.
And he's like, all right. And they both run to jump in the pool. And Dan Lanning's taking off his shirt.
So this is like the Chris Isaac video.
This is a toughie. And he runs and jumps in the pool. And then they both come up from the water and give the O sign, the Oregon sign, the O sign. Yes.
But
it's
was it released by Oregon or was it this kid's social media, like his own?
Who cares?
Well, no, but if it was released by Oregon, that's just preposterous. This is preposterous too, but at least you're trying. The kid's like, I got this idea. No,
I get why he did it.
I don't.
Said,
not
I would have
more.
said no.
100%. I'd have said no, and I'd have been like, look, if the check clears,
Yeah.
What are we doing? I don't have to do this for you. I don't work for you.
But even then, you wouldn't have to be contentious. You could just say, do you want your coach to look like a fool?
Does Lanning have a shirt off?
Oh, yeah.
How's he looking?
Not good.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be disappointed.
Okay.
You specifically are going to be
Okay,
disappointed.
all right.
Yeah, no, it's frumpy.
How about that? That's great. What a crazy idea that is.
The whole thing
Especially in this day and age when you don't have to kowtow to the recruits, you just pay them.
And I'm like, Dan, for all the bragging I've done about
that's a tough look, man.
That's a toughie. R.A. Noel writes, gentlemen, it's that wonderful time of year when we question Lonnie's softball coaching. Good luck, ladies.
Yeah.
Does Coach Mike Norvell's serious messaging and recruiting turn off high school recruits who want pool jumpers and appeal to transfers who've already been fooled once?
I guess that's I guess that's
not bad.
That's a good point. Yeah, so high school recruits want the guys jumping into the pool and I don't know, rubbing around on the sand with you, like rolling around in the sand.
No, I'm not jumping in the pool, not for an offensive lineman, not for anybody. I'm not doing
I wouldn't do it for Cam Ward. No chance. Like why would that be a deal breaker? Why if he's already committed to you, why do you then have to go embarrass yourself in his stupid Instagram post?
It makes me laugh. Bourbon Babe. This is funny. So this title is Bourbon Babe.
Okay.
So I see this right off the bat, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I'm using my wife's account.
Oh, that question.
That's so good.
That is funny, yeah.
And he goes on to say, because she is verified or whatever it's called, and this will be long. Was Dylan Gibbons that important to the counter run game? We know FSU's offensive tackle recruiting has sucked, but they've recruited many 4-star offensive guards. Could none of them run counter? With that said, does the running back room deserve all the crap that they've received? We seem to have had bad luck with left tackle, some average running backs. If our offensive line is drastically better, don't you think this squad's running back room will also be better?
Yeah, absolutely.
But there was no special in there.
Right, of course.
You agree there's no special in there.
Yeah, and Trey Benson was special. Before that, I don't know who the last, but Cam Akers. Like when you're at Florida State, man, like remember who you're talking to or who's talking to you. Like Jeff and I grew up with this program in the 80s. So we went through all the dynasty. We saw all that special.
There was special everywhere.
And no offense to like Roydell Williams or Cam Davis, but they're not special. So when we're judging on that barometer.
Yeah, on that's the bar.
That's our bar. When we say not
the
special,
bar Florida State should
right?
have.
Always should have. Yeah. So that's why we say that when I say pedestrian, it doesn't mean they can't even be quality running backs. They're just not Florida State special. They're not. But yes, a better offensive line, and Roydell Williams is a better running back, of course. Just like a better quarterback play or better receivers, DJU is a better quarterback.
Josh wants to know, can Chase Williams catch a football?
Man, he's crazy fast. He's faster than BJ Gibson, and BJ Gibson is on the football team as a wide receiver.
Yeah, my man can go. It's impressive. Jerry writes, good afternoon, gentlemen. Which one would be a safer bet? FSU is out of the ACC by 2029 or Mike Norvell wins the national title by 2029.
Yeah.
Seems like a safer bet.
Yeah, 100%.
I hope I'm wrong.
You hope that they're in the ACC in 2030?
No, I hope we win the national title in 2028.
I hope win it in 2025. What a great story that would be, Jeff. They would use this as the start of the documentary. You downplaying him and saying he's lost the team, he can't win, he's horrible, they should fire him.
It's just me.
It's all you. It's just you. Everybody else is happy with him.
Yeah. No, they would take the video from this where we asked the question from a listener.
That's a great start to it.
That's a cool way to do it.
Warchant will produce the documentary.
Let's go.
You have that as that's a promise. If they win the national championship this year, Warchant will produce a 90-minute documentary on the football team.
We already promised to wear a wig for a month if they win 10 games, wasn't it?
So, yeah.
You're going to wear one with a chin strap.
Right, doesn't matter. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Barrett says Max Williams doesn't look so bad anymore after that Tennessee Vandy finale. Yeah, buddy, it's awful.
It's crazy.
And by the way, Max is doing a better job these days.
Well, I'd like him to start hitting home runs again. Is that his superpower? Is he's got to be so pissed off at the pitcher
that he's going to scream at umpires, pitchers, second baseman, and shortstops.
He'll bring it back. We'll get the real Max this weekend, I think.
If we go 8-4, lose to Bama, Clemson, Miami, and Florida, 4 biggest games, will Norvell get fired? No. If they go 8-4, Steve, they will not fire Mike Norvell. I will bet large sums of money on that.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you don't have a valid point about frustrations boiling over about not being able to beat good teams, but they're not firing him if he goes 8-4. I promise you that.
Correct.
All right, say goodbye. We did good.
Peace out. Miss you, Ira. Miss you and love you forever.
I love you. I'll see you soon. I didn't miss you that much. because I see you all the time.
Right.
You know,
You talking to him?
No, I'm talking to him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I love you too.
Thanks, buddy.
Goodbye, everybody. Stay tuned for the bonus hour. It's forthcoming. I did it already, and it's good. We'll have fun talking about the NBA playoffs. It's true. It's true. I do. What a calamitous round 2. Until then, peace.